Here we are in the month of October, the month of Halloween. And what better way to celebrate this auspicious holiday than to tell some horror stories? Of course, my horror stories are of that of trying to find a decent quality sword at a decent quality price. And as many horror stories begin, it begins on eBay. Okay, so here's my challenge. I wanted to see if I could go on eBay and find a decent sword that actually is not an SLO but actually functional for under $50. Pretty much impossible, but it was worth a shot, I figured. And this was just kind of an exercise so I could show people what you should actually look for in a sword and why you should be careful, especially on a site like eBay. So, in thinking about what I want for a good functional sword, it needs to be made of proper material, it needs to be properly tempered, it needs to be properly constructed. That means usually like a high carbon steel or spring steel, properly tempered with a full tang, preferably peened. Nut palm would be okay, but certainly nothing welded. And so that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at the very first item that I tried to find. So, as you can see on this picture of the eBay page for it, it is a little bit of a knockoff of the movie 300. It's not one of the official replicas sold by museum replicas or windlass steel crafts, but rather a knockoff. But looking at the specifications, you begin to wonder if it's possible that this could actually be a decent sword. I mean, you have the basic specifications, the length, etc. And what you'll see is that it says down here that it's hand forged from carbon steel and features a blackened antique finish. Okay, so carbon steel, what does that really mean? So I figured, alright, this is less than $50. I will go pick it up and we will pick it apart. And here it is, the Spartan sword off of eBay. I don't know how this compares to other replica swords from the 300 movie, but this is extremely heavy. And as you can see, it is extremely thick. It is very, very kind of blade heavy. And, it's a similar design to Falcatus. Normally isn't a bad thing, but just weight alone, this suggests that this is not a functional sword just at the surface level. It does seem to be made of a decent carbon steel, at least in the blade portion, although I can't really flex it or bend it, so that's kind of problematic. Again, a lot of that has to do with the thickness. And overall, surface level, you begin to go, okay, well, this may be not poorly made. It's not until you get down to the hilt assembly. Now, this is a very, very cheap metal that has been used in the hilt, and the biggest problem is right here as I begin to unscrew the pommel. Now, normally this isn't the biggest deal, assuming that the rest of the construction is actually pretty good, but as you will see, this is not a solid piece. It's actually got a little nut down in there, and so beginning to look pretty bad, beginning to look pretty terrible. And taking the handle off, you see the real shame in this, and that is right here. You see, it's just a regular bolt that has been welded on, and that's very, very common in cheap swords, and that's also very, very problematic because, well, that can break very easily. So now we have assuredly determined that this is not a functional sword. So that's about $40 wasted, I suppose. Okay, so at least I have a decorative movie replica of some kind now, even if it is kind of a knockoff and unofficial. So this will just kind of hang around in the background looking pretty from now on because, well, it can't be used for much else. So there you go. Horrible thing. eBay. Just not worth it.